Welcome to LifeHerStyle, a podcast for Christian women who are ready to live boldly for Christ in every season of life. I'm your host, Kari, pastor's wife, ordained minister, toddler mama, and truth-speaking friend. Whether you're navigating motherhood, ministry, marriage, or your God-given mission, you'll find inspiration rooted in scripture and stories that point your heart back to Jesus. Tune in each week as we explore faith-filled living through the stories of ordinary women doing extraordinary things for Christ. Because her style of life, it's set apart. Let's do life her style. Hey everybody, and welcome to another episode of the LifeHerStyle podcast. Very seldom, if ever, will we have a man on this show, but we do today. Because this is an extension of my story that I'm telling through this podcast. And so this is my husband, Pastor David. You heard from him in season 1, episodes like 1 through 3. You interviewed me. And so he's here today because we're going to share our love story.
Our love story.
And we're only sitting this far away because we have had a time with the technical components of this podcast.
Working out the bugs.
We actually like each other more than the 3 feet of space that's between us right now.
97.3% of the time.
Most of the time. I feel like this is the scene on When Harry Met Sally, you know, where the couples are sitting on the couches.
Except they're sitting side by
Yeah,
side.
only we're like this far away, but oh well. We're going to see if this will work. But because Valentine's Day is just around the corner.
February 14th, I hear.
Yeah. Which we never really celebrate on the 14th because everyone else does.
We are wise.
So we either go like the day before or the day after to dinner or whatever. We never do dinner out on February 14th. But I wanted us to kind of share a little bit about our story, how we met, got together, and all of that. And then I wanted to kind of ask you questions.
Fire away.
So first, before we start anything, because the first time that you were on the podcast, you were asking me questions.
Yes.
And so you're kind of the guest on today's podcast. And so I want to ask you the question I ask all of my guests on the show is, when did you say yes to Jesus, and how has your relationship with him evolved over the years?
My recollection is being 4 years old in a little country church. And yeah, that's when my journey with Jesus started. And that's been basically my whole life. There have been ups and there's been downs. There have been seasons where my faith was really tested, seasons when I lived out the Psalms thinking, why do the wicked prosper and the righteous have to suffer? Seasons where being like in Ecclesiastes, trying this, trying that. But thankfully, God's grace always brought me home. And now I live with a faith that has been tested and tried. And I won't say it's unshakable, but it certainly has been shaken a lot. And it's pretty solid at this point.
I think it's crazy because you say 4, and our daughter is 4 right now. And so there have been conversations with her where I feel like we're getting so close to her just being like, okay, I want to ask Jesus into my heart. I want to live for him. And, she's still kind of growing and learning, but it happened for you at 4, and she's just turning 4. So it's
you and I have both worked with children, particularly in a church setting. And certainly there are some children who maybe at 4, 5, 6, 7 years old don't quite understand. They're just sort of doing what their parents do, or maybe do what's expected of them. And that happens. And we've tried to counsel. I've certainly tried to counsel parents, to kind of probe and try to understand. But at the same time, I've seen just as many children who they may not have the deep theological concepts, but the Lord implants faith in them,
Yeah.
and they get the basic concept, and they're on the path,
Yeah.
on the road. So
And we've been really careful not to we're not like, come here, let's say this prayer together. Okay, you're a Christian.
yeah,
This is a decision that we're wanting her to organically come to as she comes to the understanding of who Jesus is. Like when you were 4, what was it for you? Where were you? What clicked?
I mean that is a hard question to answer, um, because I don't have the clearest memories,
Uh-huh.
but it's certainly the earliest memories that I have. And then being 6 years old and having a clear sense that being a preacher is something I was called to. And then refining that, you learn more and more as you get older and as you mature. Um, but yeah, there was just this sense that Jesus is real, that the things I'm being taught are real. And I remember for me, because a lot of parents are concerned about this, it wasn't about being afraid. I wasn't afraid of hell or sin or that kind of stuff. I just had this sense that, yeah, I need Jesus. He's the only one who can save me. And I believe the Bible talks about the faith of a child. Unless you have faith like a little child, Jesus says, you cannot enter the kingdom of heaven. Well, he's not just saying that to adults who need to be like children. He's saying, look, children have this capacity, maybe different from one child to the next, but God is able to inspire faith in young hearts. And and as you see that, if you're a Christian parent, as you rather than forcing that, we're praying for that, we're interceding for that, we're teaching and training that, but then we're asking for discernment. As we see that in our children, then we nurture that, we encourage that, and we run with it.
Yeah. Yeah. So, this is our actual living room. We have set up kind of a studio in our living room. This is our couch, and this is where we have a lot of our conversations
That is true.
in this sort of configuration. You're on that side, I'm on this side.
And it's usually I'm having to rub your feet or you throw a
I mean, my
pillow on
feet
my
are
lap
like
and you're laying
really
down.
close.
But this is pretty much the position I'm
Yeah.
always in.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So, this is kind of a glimpse into what a regular night would look like for us. At this point, he would probably already be in bed because we spent so long trying to figure this out for this interview.
So
So
long.
long. We had to wait until our daughter was asleep and then, I got onto it. But then here we are, and we're gonna do this. The first thing I want us to do is tell everyone our love story. And I'm gonna let you take the driver's seat on this one because I think it's just better coming from you, and I like to hear it. Where did we begin?
It was a dark and stormy night. No, that's not
It
true.
wasn't,
It was
no.
actually bright and sunshine. As of the time of this recording, it was almost 26 years ago. We met um, or at the biannual conference that our movement, our church tradition holds. It's an international gathering. It's a huge deal. It's a week long. And that year it was being held in St. Louis, Missouri, which was my one first time being in St. Louis and my last time being in St. Louis for a long time. But I just happened to be coming up on one of the sessions, and the session was still closed. The doors weren't open yet. So they had positioned these two young people outside the door, one of whom just had a smile that lit up the entire place. And there was a bubbliness and a brightness. And uh, I mean, I wasn't thinking in any kind of romantic terms or whatever. I just found myself talking to you for like 3 hours. Yeah, that's how we met. And we crossed paths a couple more times before the week was out. And that was that for a little while.
Mm-hmm.
Then your part of the story comes in next.
Well, I got home. Well, first of all, like at that door, so I was with one of my friends who is a gorgeous girl. And so, of course, meeting you there, I was like, there's no way he's going to like me if she's at the door with me, So I don't know. I thought you were so nice, and I loved that we like got to, meet up a couple more times during that week. But I thought for sure like you would have liked the other girl more than me because I just thought she was so much cuter than I was. And so then once we got home, I'm like, okay, he told me what school he was going to. And so I used my sleuthing abilities to look up his university email and write him an email saying, hey, we met at, this General Assembly and remember me. And so thus began our pen pal sort of journey because we did that for a while after that. Like we didn't see each other again until was it 2000?
Well, it was, let's say it was like 7 years later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And well, it's almost 6 years later. And yeah, no, it was emails back and forth. There was some like instant messaging, that kind of a
When
thing.
AOL and
Yes.
like the Hotmail Instant Messenger were a thing.
Yes.
We really weren't texting or anything because like there wasn't a lot of texting capabilities out at that
No, well,
point.
text didn't even exist yet.
Yeah. Yeah.
It didn't even exist yet. Now, once it did exist,
Yeah.
that definitely entered into the equation.
Yeah.
But no, you had a work trip that put you in the vicinity of where I was at the time. And so, again, I have to be very clear because this is part of the story. There was not so much a romantic
No.
interest on my part as it really was this sort of
Friendship.
friendship.
Mm-hmm.
And you were in ministry, I was in ministry, so there was a bond
Mm-hmm.
through our ministries. And so I was just excited about the opportunity to come down. You were going to be ministering at a church, and so I wanted to come and spend a little time with you, catch up, see you in your element, as it were. And that was definitely the plan, and that's what happened. But what also happened was I saw you for the first time in 6 years, and when you opened the door at your hotel room, and I was like, "Whoa, she's prettier than I remember." I was like, "I did not come down here for this."
Yeah, I thought like that it wasn't really on my radar either. I was like welcoming the idea of having a friend with me because I was going to this place far away from home by myself. I didn't know a lot of people. And so I was like, this is a really good opportunity to have a friend there. And so that for me was the thing is it's like, okay, there's somebody here. That first night I was there by myself and it was like I was twiddling my thumbs. I had to walk next door to the mall to get dinner because I didn't have a car, so I was just like stuck at the hotel. And, when you showed up, it was like, oh, cool, this is like really exciting. And as the evening progressed, then I was like, I really like this guy. Like, I was not expecting to like you so hardcore on that trip. So from the door, then, like, how was that experience for you through the next 24 hours?
Well, I mean, it was just kind of like, okay, let's set that aside, and I had come down with the intention of, um, being with you through this weekend, and I wanted to when I heard that you didn't have the car and they weren't doing anything for you, which is nothing against them and all that, I was like, oh, okay, we got to take care of this. So I scouted out some of the city and found some interesting things, and we just had a great weekend. We had an experience, an adventure, and it was very enjoyable, very memorable. And then it was over.
Yeah.
And I went back to where I was living. You went back to home. And that seemed like that was that for the time being. You ended up making a trip to come and visit me. And that was another great weekend. We had another great experience. Again, friendship oriented, but now there's something sort of simmering underneath there. And it felt like, it could have been a moment. But I know I wasn't ready.
Yeah, you
And
were
we've
keeping
talked
me
about
at an
this a
arm's
lot.
length.
I wasn't ready for sure. I think we've talked, and you're like, I would have married you right then.
Yeah, done deal.
Yeah.
Sealed, done. Yeah.
So then it was another 5 years.
Yeah, something like
Another
that.
5 years, but now it was cards and packages and telephone calls and text messaging. But it was also extended periods of no contact from me or from you whatsoever, with no real idea what was going on in each other's lives, but definitely being consumed with our separate lives. But then there was this kind of, I don't know if you want to call it rubber band effect or magnetism or whatever. We just kept coming back into each other's spheres. And there were a few instances of where our timing was off, like where I was starting to get ready and you had other things occupying you, and then you'd circle back to me, and I'm like, yeah, no. And that was because now it was kind of out there, not really out there, but it
got out there.
Well, it all came together finally one night around Thanksgiving, and you called me, and you just put it out there. And then eventually, that still took another couple of months.
Well, I mean, it was within hours though, where you kind of like were like, oh, because at first I put it out there. I was like, I want to do this. I think you said something along the lines of like, not that you weren't interested, but something along to that effect.
I don't remember. Well, I never said I was not interested, but I said something like no.
Yeah. And so I thought during that conversation, it was like, okay, door closed.
I don't remember that first conversation itself, but I remember sinking into a chair in my apartment going like, am I an idiot? I'm an idiot. I'm an idiot. I am an idiot. But it took like an hour and a half or something like that.
It was a couple hours.
I called you back, and I don't remember if I said those words to you, but something along the lines of like, I'm an idiot.
Because then we had a really long conversation after that on the phone, and I don't honestly even remember what was said. But after the first conversation of the day, I literally was just like, okay, what am I going to do now? Because I thought you were it. That was where my life was headed. And so after you said no, I was like, all right, I'm going to have to rethink my plans here, because that definitely threw a wrench in where I thought my life was headed. And so then when you called back, I think I remember getting off the phone and being like, okay, so now what? Because we still lived states away from each other.
And so there were, over the course of 6-7 months, obviously a lot of conversations, a couple of trips back and forth. You came where I was, I came where you were. But then things were shifting in your job, in my situation. And looking back, it was like once we made that decision, it really felt like the Lord was starting to orchestrate things to allow us to be geographically together.
Yeah.
And the way it worked out was pretty wild. It just made sense for you to come and live where I was living, not with me. I
Yeah.
mean, but we found you an apartment, and I had my apartment, but from there things started to pick up a bit because now you were in the same city. We were spending almost every evening together, uh, having adventures on the weekend and so forth. And so 1, 2, 3 months into that, I knew I wanted you to marry me. And I went to the mall, or to the jewelry store, I should say, and at the mall, and I had picked out the ring, and I bought the ring. I had the ring in a bag, and I was walking out, and who was walking into the mall as I'm walking out with this ring in a bag? That's right, folks. This lady right
I
here.
loved that mall.
Well,
Like, I loved that mall. I went there every
and
day.
today, unfortunately, that mall
I know.
it
It's
is
so
dead.
sad.
It is dead. We went back, but I thankfully I saw her before she saw me, so I scooted back in. I went around the long way so that I could put it in my car, but then I came back in just in case maybe she had seen my car or seen me or something like that. And so then I was like, "Hey, what are you doing at the mall today? I'm not supposed to see you till later."
Yeah. Yeah.
And then you started picking up on something, because that was in October, but we still had to get through November, December. You started picking up on some
Yeah,
stuff.
because that was before Christmas. I remember you going somewhere with a friend,
Mm.
and at that point I was like, are they going ring shopping? Because you really didn't like go hang out without me, like because I didn't have many friends there just yet, just moving to a new town. I didn't really know that many people. And so you going out on your own hadn't really happened a lot. And so when you guys were going out to do something, didn't know what, I was like, are they ring shopping? And then it was like right before Christmas, and you had planned like this really nice date. And I thought that was going to be the night
No.
that you asked me. Because then I thought, okay, I could go home to my family and celebrate and like be like, look at my ring, like I thought it was going down before I went home for Christmas. And so we went on this date. We went to the pizza place. I forget what it was called. Lola's, yes. We went to this pizza place. It was one of our favorite places in town to eat. And then we just went all over town to the Capitol and all that stuff. And I thought, oh, when is it going to happen? When's it going to happen? And it didn't happen.
Wow.
And I was like, okay. So then we go spend separate Christmases with our
Yeah,
families.
you went home for Christmas.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I was telling them at Christmas, I was like, I'm pretty sure that he's going to ask me sometime soon.
Wow.
Like I was telling them, I
you
thought
were that
you were
confident.
close.
You were the stuff.
I
right?
thought you were
Okay. You thought
close.
you'd locked it down.
And I was right.
Well, but I threw you some curveballs, one of which was unintentional.
Yes.
So it's New Year's Eve.
Uh-huh.
New Year's Eve, I planned a full day of activities for us, which was to start off at my friend's cafe, and we went there, and the cafe was closed.
I was like, well, it's not happening today
Not
because
happening
he
today.
would have planned that to the T.
Yep.
Like if we were going to this place, it was going to be open because he would have had that planned.
But as you know, always have plan A through E, and E is your escape plan. So I had backup plans. So we get through the day and into the evening, and now it's time. I said, look, we weren't together for Christmas. I've got some Christmas presents for you. I brought some presents back from my family. And because I brought presents from my family, I said they wanted me to videotape it. That way they could see your reaction and get your thanks and all that kind of stuff.
And I was none the wiser.
You weren't suspicious at all.
Yeah, like I was like, okay, cool.
I didn't do it before. It didn't work out the way I planned that day. Surely this wasn't happening.
Yeah.
Interesting. So we're working through the presents, and we get to the last present. Now I'm gonna jump ahead, folks. The last present was going to be the ring and me down on my knee, as it were, asking her to marry me. But before that, the next to the last present, she starts bawling. I mean, just tears pouring down. I'm like, you're kind of jumping the gun here. What is going on? Explain.
He had given me his college alumni sweatshirt. And so when I opened it and I saw it, I thought, well, he's not going to get rid of me then because he loses the sweatshirt. Like, I'm here for the long haul because I've got the sweatshirt.
I wasn't even thinking about that because she just steals my clothes.
I don't steal them. I borrow.
From the very first trip, you have stolen.
I thought you were giving me that one.
I was not, but from the very first trip, you've stealing my clothes. So I thought, I'm going to give her something.
I still have that Outrigger sweatshirt.
Explains that, but I was like, I'm going to give her something so she doesn't have to keep stealing my clothes. So she's already used all her tears, but then finally, after she's collecting herself, as it were, and she looks up, there I am with the ring. And folks, it took her forever. It took her a whole year to say yes. And that's simply because I asked
it was 5 seconds before the new
before
year.
the drop, and then that way it was the new year.
Yeah.
So, spoiler alert, she said yes.
I said yes. And then we waited.
A year and a half. Finally, though, we got married.
I mean, it was the most grueling year and a half of my life.
I'm teeing all this up because I know you're going to ask for advice and all this later, and obviously I've got some advice. But yeah, and so that was almost 12 years ago.
Yep. And here we are. On this couch.
With
a very, very solid partnership and life and family, and our daughter sleeping in the other room.
And she's still stealing my clothes.
Thankfully.
And so is my daughter, too, by the way.
She is. Well, she steals my clothes, too. That's probably going to happen for a lifetime. So that is our love story.
Aww.
And here we are.
Thanks so much for tuning in to LifeHerStyle. If today's episode encouraged you, share it with a friend, leave a review, and don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an episode. Want to keep the conversation going? Come hang out with me on Instagram at LifeHerStyle. I'd love to connect with you there. And for deeper devotionals, resources, and encouragement straight to your inbox, join the LifeHerStyle community on Substack at lifeherstyle.substack.com. Until next time, remember, your life, your walk, your style. Do it all for the glory of God.